Lavin, come here, Lavin. Lavin, come. Lavin, let's come. Lavin, come. Come here, baby. Hey, baby. Okay, turn up the audio. Concurrent viewers, it says 0. Good morning, all. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Today is Friday. Wonderful, wonderful Friday. It is October 30th, 2020, and the time of this live stream is 7:40 a.m. Right now it is raining. All day yesterday it was foggy, drizzling, and today we have a rain. It's very, very overcast. A lot of low clouds, very gray. Yes, I've been up now for at least a half an hour. I fell asleep with I kept my computer on in my bedroom, and yes, it was playing some videos. Well, yeah, this is a real stay-at-home day, and as you see with the title, I want to talk about the vision that I had this morning. Many of you who follow, let me know, is the audio okay? You know, if those who are listening, just you can just press a 1 for yes, that the audio is loud and clear. Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about, I always like to talk about the visions that I have, my morning visions. And many of you who have been following, I explain all the time that upon awakening from sleeping or dreaming, I keep my eyes closed and I just relax in bed. And then I have, usually I see something. So that's what I want to talk about today, and what comes into my mind. Let's see, upon waking up, I saw, I saw the ground. For whatever reason, it seems like with many of the things that I see, I'm always looking on the ground, or I have an area view of something, you know. Um, excuse me. I saw this time, it looked like I was outside, it was daytime. It seemed like it was sunny, but it wasn't very, very clear. It was very out of focus. But I see the ground, and the ground had a lot of rocks, light color rocks, like maybe in a quarry or something, or somewhere that the whole ground had these sharp edge rocks they were like pebble size, little rock size, and then a medium size, and then bigger ones all over. Then as if it was a camera, I think you could use the term panning. It was going to the left, to the right, you know, of what I'm seeing, as if I'm looking through a camera. And I see this. And I thought it was interesting. And I have to back up a little bit. Before I saw those rocks, I saw bubbles again, or I should say circles. Tiny circles. The coloring of the circles on the inside was like an off-white, a creamy white. And the outer edge of the circle is like a thin layer, thin outline, like I think a cobalt blue. I've seen those before. I've seen those bubbles, circles. And again, the circles were all touching each other, different sizes. Some looked like a quarter of an inch, others looked like half of that. And it's all, you know, all mixed in together. They're all touching. And the blue, the cobalt blue is really interesting. I like looking at that. So that's what I saw for today on October 30th, 2020. And the day before, you know, I think I saw something else when I woke up. This was I think it was a beach scene. Yeah, I think it was a beach. Area view looking downward. And I think there were people. I remember I think there were something, it was very windy, and I think these were palm trees. And you know, palm trees, when it's like a hurricane, it was bunched up and swaying. That's what I remember. That's all I can say. Again, it wasn't in very good focus. That's what it looked like. An ocean, the sand, at the beach. And I remember things blowing in the wind. I'm wondering whether what I'm seeing, is it like a live stream that I'm seeing? Am I seeing something that is current, that's actually happening live as I'm watching? Or is it something that like a film in storage, you know, something that's already happened? That I don't know. So that's about it with the things that I've seen. And yeah, so now I think I'm going to talk about like the video that I did last night. It wasn't a live stream. It was a video that I did. Oh, yeah. And the reason for that format, I wasn't able to do a live stream on my device, my iPhone or my iPad. And I think it's all because remember, YouTube had blocked my ability to upload, do live streams, or even post. and they said I was in violation because of a video that I shared on the COVID. So here, putting up the video to give you options of your own personal health care that was made by a medical doctor. So it's not something of what I think. It's what a medical doctor shared to the public. And so that is a no-no. So they put me on like a timeout for 1 week. And so I put up I test my computer to see if I was able to upload, and I was. I think that was Wednesday, this past Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. But you know what I'm not able to do? Like, when I wake up in the morning, hey, Cam. Yeah, it's always good to see you. Yeah, hi, Cam. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm just sharing about I shared about this dream that I had, Cam. Real brief. Since I finished talking about the dream, I was going to talk about other things. But yeah, what happened? Oh, the dream the vision, not dream, the vision that I had this morning. I saw visions of these circles, almost like bubbles, the off-white color. They were very small, different sizes, and the outer ring of the circle was like a cobalt blue color, very thin outline around each of the bubbles. And then the vision was I was in some type of land. It was daytime, and all these rocks. There were sharp-edged rocks, all different sizes, like it was in some desert, something, maybe a quarry, and bits of rocks all over. Yeah, and then as if it was a camera. I was looking through a camera as if, and it was panning to the left fast, panning to the right, and that's all you saw was cobalts. Boulders and everything. They were an off-white color, and I've never seen that before. And day before, I saw like a beach, and trees were, palm trees were blowing really hard, and I saw people, and there was an area view looking downward upon them. And so I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, I find it interesting doing the relaxation in the morning. I mentioned this before. See, I believe that the world that we live in, Cam, that I'm believing more and more this is a simulation. I think something has like a computer, and something has access to our thinking, to our mind, to our conscious mind, and allows us to experience what we experience. And so the world between sleep, when we're in a heavy, deep sleep, and then our awake state, this is a bridge, an essential bridge. And I think at that point, when you're in between both worlds, is when you're able to take your awareness and your intent, you can do things with it. And in my case, I'm able to see things. Sometimes it looks like I'm right there, that I'm the party in doing what I'm seeing. And other times I am like looking at a monitor, as if it was a monitor, a screen of something, and I'm seeing something. I'm not interacting with it, but I'm an observer. I love to find someone who knows who's really familiar with human consciousness and meditation, to have it get to the next level. Yeah, I want to find out what's going on, and hopefully, yeah, I think the mind is powerful, and we have this mind for something. And I think, Cam, then that people want us preoccupied. People want us preoccupied with, how you say, with this world dilemma. And they present things like racism, sexism, warfare, and this gets us against one another. It gets us fighting. Nothing good comes out of it. And I'm really thinking that this thing that's in control wants us to fight. That is the intention. So I'm thinking about the movie The Matrix. And it's The Matrix, that movie. I think Hollywood knows the secret. And Hollywood gives us clues to what could be happening. And a matrix system could be happening. Yeah, I'm slowly really believing this, that we are in different dimensions, and we could tap onto different things. For whatever reason now, I'm not able to see very clearly the images. At sometimes, sometimes I'm able to see things clear. In the past, maybe like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was able to see things clear. Or like if I do this certain thing, like if I tense up my body and my face, like I'm doing an internal stretch or something, when you get up in the morning and you just kind of stretch out, like you raise your hands, like you go like that. And when I do that, Cam, then boom, the vision thing gets really clear, sharp, really, really sharp for a couple of seconds, maybe 5 seconds, and then it fades. So, but I'm not able to do that and for it to get clear. Yeah. So what could be happening is what I call interference. You have, I think maybe the forces at large, they know what I'm doing, and they don't want me to see clearly. They can't stop me like when I'm in a dream and then I awaken and I discipline myself to stay relaxed and keep my eyes closed, and then I see something. They don't really have access over that. But when it is come to their attention, it seems like that's when they interfere. I've had visions of, what was that? Outer space. What looked like outer space. I had something like, I was in, it was like a big cavity. What I believe was where I was seeing from was a larger spacecraft, and it had an opening where things could enter in and exit in. And outside of that door, that opening, it was pitch black, no stars. It looked like outer space, in my opinion. And I saw spacecrafts. I kid you not. I saw space. Yeah, people don't believe me. Yeah, so some of the viewers that they shut down. But honey, it's true what I say. And if you can't share the truth, why even talk? But yeah, for those of you who really are interested, see, this is something. Okay, the thing came back on for the viewers. Yeah, what happened? I saw a fleet of spacecrafts. They were all identical. That morning vision, I think it was last year sometime. And yes, they're all identical. They were relatively small. They were all outside, and you could see them kind of like bobbing up and down a little bit because they're out in space. Yeah. I wasn't interacting with anything. I was just like an observer. And I saw it clearly. It lasted just a couple of seconds, maybe 7 seconds, 7 full seconds. And I'm watching this. And my impression of them were that these were made for speed, for maneuvering. And my instincts were that it was for war. These were things that was dodge. It had a lot of devices on top of it. It was circular, but not flat. It was thick, and it had a lot of components on the outside of this spacecraft of some type, all identical. And you could see like light was reflected off of it. I guess maybe the light from inside the thing that I'm looking from. And I believe that, this world, there's a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on. And it's something that's free to do, that you all can do this. I'm no one special. I am as regular as everybody else here. I do not do drugs, anything like that. I live a very clean lifestyle. I've always had a clean lifestyle. What else? Yeah, these things that you see, it opened up doorways to different dimension. This world is all about frequencies. Yes, this world is about like a radio station. Do you know the radio stations? They're always on. They're always broadcasting something. It's like a radio. Your brain is like a radio. Yeah, your brain is like a radio, and when you turn the dial, the sharper the more precise you're able to place that dial on a station, the clearer the reception and what you hear. But in this case, it's something that I'm seeing. I never hear anything audible. Never. That would be interesting. How to do that? How to facilitate my seeing things? But all what's going on? People want to keep you distracted, and I think this is a key thing. And so the best time to do this meditation is before you really interact with anything, when you're just coming out of your sleep for the day. And just that's all I'm doing. Keep your eyes closed, relax your body, and like as if you're staying awake. Like look on your eyelids. You have your eyes closed, and as if you're looking at the back of your eyelids. That's what you focus on. And then boom, what you're going to see usually comes within seconds upon waking up, And I also find what helps if a slight daylight is in the room, I noticed like sometimes I might put the cover over my head thinking the more intensity of the darkness that's outside is maybe going to enhance what I'm seeing with my eyes closed. No, in fact, that does the opposite. So just a slight illumination. My blinds were open, and so the natural sunlight. When it's reaching dawn. Best time to have an experience. I don't do as much of the meditation, what I call my standard formal meditation, where I have where I'm sitting up and light my candle, maybe light incense, things like that. I haven't done that as much. Maybe I should try it today since it's all raining and everything. And hey, it might be the best time because it's quiet, it's relaxing. Um, so maybe I might just do that. Yeah, there's things out there, and they don't want you to see. And so, why wait for someone else to tell you the scoop on something when you could become your own reporter, your own researcher, and learn firsthand for yourself what's really out there? And I find that I've done it once successfully. Again, most of my formal meditations, I just, I sit at my table. It's right behind me. My coffee table, I have it set up with things on the top. Um, I'm able to. Oh, I usually just close my eyes and just relax and whatever comes in. But only once did I do this successfully. I had did an intent. I said, okay, I'm going to do my meditation, but this time I want to uh, experience if there's life on the moon, something like that. I said, and I was meditating for 1 hour, and then it happened. Yes, it happened. I saw I saw like I was as if in space, and I'm looking at this large mass. The what looked like the moon had these big craters, and it was as if like a flashlight was on. It was on an angle, how the angle of the light shone on the moon's surface, what I presume was the moon. And I'm like, wow, I'm saying to myself. And then it faded, and then I saw something else. I saw a being. Yes, I did. I did. I saw, I was, I mean, my body was calm, but I'm seeing this thing. The being, he was like this. His head was all, I think it was a he. Some said it was a he. The head was down like that. You see the shoulders? He had no hair on the head, and his head was as if like a shape, something like a football like, the massive crown here, and then it was like pointed. It was a pale color. It had color, but it was pale, and the skin looked very leathery. Very, very leathery. And it had things like a thick, like long cords, like as if something was underneath the skin, like tendons or something, some hard or firmer material. And it was like a ridge, and it's all throughout the back of the head. And I don't remember if it had any clothes on, whatever. Narrow shoulders, small body, and I see this massive sized head. And I said to myself in the meditation, please do not lift up your head. I'm not ready to see your face. Yes, yeah. This lasted for a couple of seconds. It didn't move. It just stood. I saw from like the chest up. And it was, you saw every pore. You could see that it had pores and everything. The skin, you saw the texture of the skin. I kid you not. Like, I'm on a camera right now, a Lumix camera. And sometimes you're able to set it up so sharp, a zoom in, and you could see every pore on this thing. Like when it's doing the initial focusing, and it automatically zooms with the focus, and so you could try to do the details and making it sharp. And that's how I saw it. It was exceptionally sharp, like it's right there. It was just inches away from my face. Maybe 8 inches away from my view standpoint. And so for me, I believe that this life, we call it extraterrestrial life. I believe it does exist because of that experience, seeing the what we call the being slash ET slash alien, and then the vision of the spacecrafts. It was a whole fleet, a whole fleet. Yeah, it exists. I believe that. I don't know. I believe something is messing with us. Some of the other visions that I've had, I felt like I was in some laboratory. It looked like some type of room, and I saw these. It looked like insects. Insects with a lot of little limbs and things coming out of the limbs, and when I saw when I started seeing the being or whatever with the that looked like the insect, it wasn't that clear. I mean, I can see it, but it wasn't in good focus, and it's like getting at my face, as if if I were there, it would be trying to get my face. It seemed like, and even though my eyes are closed and I'm seeing this, like even like this. If I move my hand across my face, I see a shadow because I'm moving my hand across my eyes and there is a light source shining on me, so it casts a shadow. It was like that, but there was no shadow in the room because there's no light in the room. This is early morning. I have no light on, but this is happening. And it sees me, and it doesn't, and my instinct was, it doesn't want me to see what I'm looking at. And I started feeling like I was up in something, in some of the secret space program genre that's out there on YouTube, that they have some people, or in some type of capsule, and that like some people might think they're clones or something. And I think I'm in one of those things. It reminded me of that because of the genre and what it looked like. Because I saw that there was something above me, and it almost looked like a cap, a large metal cap above my head, and it was reminiscent of the device I saw over YouTube genre on the subject of the secret space program. And I'm up on something looking downward, and they see me. They could see me. I can't do anything when I'm seeing it. I'm just seeing it. And so it's not like I could look around in the room like that, move my head in the natural, and being able to see things there. No, it seems like how I'm viewing it is, I don't have any say over what I'm seeing. It's just what I'm seeing. But it would be great to find someone who may know how I could interact more of what I'm seeing, how to see more, how to be able to spiritually move my head to see the things in the room. Yeah, I believe that this world is this current setup is just that, a setup. And they don't want you, they want to keep you dependent. They want to keep you in fear and anger. They don't want you to know about other life. They use the Bible, they use religion, They use religion, in my opinion, to control you, control every aspect. I mean, I was a devout Christian for most of my adult life. I was introduced to Christianity. I might have been 20 years of age, and I officially dropped Christianity maybe 3 years ago. So that's, in essence, all my adult life. And Oh, what's the point I was going to bring up with that? There was something. Oh, in this religious state, that like in Christianity, in the New Testament, they say like, if you were ever married, if you divorce, you cannot remarry, and that if you're married, remarry somebody else, you're living in sin, and I believed that. But what if you meet someone nice? And I'm thinking, wow, what a power play to put on someone that you cannot do something. So if you have a contract, and if both of you break that contract, you are free. You should be free to create new contracts with other people. So So you have this system that's that powerful. So it's telling you how to run your personal life, and then putting you in fear that, oh, if you break that rule, you're going to go to hell. And someone has been asking this question. Like someone had said recently on YouTube that life is eternal. So no one can tell you, or no religion could really tell you that we'll give you eternal life if you follow our religion. Because they said that eternal life is something that is. Life forms may change, but your life essence doesn't change. And, I even add to that. They say that if you follow this particular religion with this eternal life you receive, they never say what eternal life. What does this eternal life consist of? Yes, in the book of Revelation, they talk about that. But they really don't talk about what life would be. They talk about a room, buildings and everything. Well, the building's right here. What's different about that place that's worth its grain of salt? Eternal life in what? Doing what? Will you be doing a type of job? Will you be married? So, what will you be doing? They say, oh no, you're going to live like the angels. Well, what are angels? Angels are spirit beings that are messengers. Well, if you have a messenger, you have someone who's sending a message and someone who's giving an order. Someone who's telling you to do something, right? Or warning you. So then you're saying there's going to be some type of society and every society is based on doing something. People do. You don't just sit there and look at the sky. They never tell you. They never tell you what's on the other side. And where is Jesus? Didn't Jesus say he was going to come? See that people are leaving. People don't want to hear about certain things, questions about religion, questions about things that you have first-hand information on, because it's going to interrupt with their paradigm system. I'm only saying to test the system, test and see its validity, investigate. Just like myself, for years, I believed everything what the pastor would tell me. I read the Bible through and through 7 times, like 6 to 7 times, the whole 66 books of the Bible. My favorite book is Genesis and Revelation. Yes, it is. But you have to ask questions. Where is Jesus? Well, the scriptures say that he left to prepare a place. Well, what place is this? And how come he didn't come back? And if you can pray to him, and if we're all praying to him and talking to him, how is he able to finish his work? You can't be at 2 places at the same time, because life is about a point of attention. You're living in this point of attention. You're interacting with it. You're interacting with your computer so you can see the monitor. You are interacting, and you can't have 100 focuses at the same time. So how could he help you? When he said he's leaving you, why didn't he take us with him? Why? If he has this much power, and if he claims that people claim that he's God, he said he was the Son of God. He was a man and a character in a story. And some even say the story is just that, a story based on older stories. And people just borrow each other's literature. Now, I've had dreams in the past about something that looked like Jesus, but he never said who he was. He never spoke to me. This was in my early days of the religion. I was away from home. I was living in St. Thomas, the U.S. Virgin Islands at the time, and I was there by myself. I didn't have friends or family there, and I had this two separate dreams that were really intense, and they were both spiritual in nature. And this character in the dream that looked like a Jesus character wearing white robes, and I was with a whole bunch of other young ladies, and we were like dancing. It was just weird. And then I had an experience like a Kundalini experience, and it happened twice. The Kundalini experience. Again, I never did drugs, wasn't drinking, nothing like that. A very clean lifestyle. It's a very simple lifestyle, and I had an experience. So what was that experience? So I'm wondering whether you have, when you make affirmations, what I'm starting to think about all this, that what that experience was about, it reminds me of what happens in the military. I also was in the military. I was in the U.S. Navy. And really briefly, why I'm mentioning this, when you enlist in the military, your recruiter is going to ask you what your religion is. And at that time, I didn't have a religion, and I told him I was an atheist. And he said, no, you have to tell us what you are. And I wasn't. I wasn't back then raised in any religious tradition. But why I mentioned that, see, when you die in your military, they have to put you in a casket, and then and you're entitled to a burial site if you're a veteran, honorable separation. And they put either, a cross or a star or this other thing, based on what your religion is. That's part of it. But I think it goes deeper than just that. And this is what I really, really think, and I hope you get this point, okay? Based on experiences that happened to me in the military, I'm led to believe this. I believe our soul, or whatever you want to call it, it has to belong to someone. It has to be controlled by someone when you pass. And to designate yourself in a particular religious tradition, that who has jurisdiction over that religion will have access to your soul upon transitioning. I had another experience like in the military. I don't know why it was a spiritual warfare, definitely. I had met someone, and they had shared information to me. The person had motives. Let me just say that. They had interest in me in a personal sense. I didn't know it at the time. I was naive of it at the time. But she planted a seed of a seed of thought to me, and it had me waver in my Christian belief system at that time. And I was playing with the idea of, hey, let me explore other things. And I was reading my Bible, and I started to feel a panic attack, what I would now call like a panic attack. Okay, I have to get my little doggy. Let me show you my little doggy. See her? This lady, she was just making noise. She wants to get down. Okay, lady. Get you down. Sorry about that. Yeah. So what happened? What happened? I started to develop this fear, and I noticed like I pick up the Bible, and this like a anxiety or fear attack hit me, real weird. And this never happened before. And again, I'm not into drugs or drinking or smoking, anything. And it started to get bad. And then I had a nightmare. What looked like what I call a nightmare. I saw a man, white, his skin was extra white. He had jet black hair, relatively short, not hanging down. I think he had a goatee, mustache, and goatee, if I remember right. He's wearing all black, and he had his fists up in the air like this. And I thought he was going to punch me. And I said I gave a word of prayer. It could have been the blood of Jesus, something to that extent, as a means to protect myself. And you know what happened? He got fearful in his face, like uh-oh, like that type of look. And he backed away. And then I woke up. I told this Christian woman that I work with. She was like my supervisor at the time. And I shared with her my experiences, what was happening, and the fear I was getting. And this so-called friend had told me some things, and I started to doubt the Bible. And so my friend said, the supervisor said very briefly, and I appreciate this also, she said, God is not a God of confusion. If you weren't confused before, but you're confused now, that should tell you something. Something like that, she said. So it made sense. So I decided at that time to keep my faith system, and things cleared up. I didn't have the dream or the experiences again. But why I mention it again, because you might be saying, oh, well, you should stay with Christianity. But I think what was happening was that there was, and I was overseas. I was living on a ship in the Navy, and I'm not sure if we were actually coming across the Atlantic at the time, or if we were at port. I don't remember, but either way, the boat is in water. And I start to, it was a pull, there was a pull I felt to my soul. It was really weird, because I remember the day that I said to myself, oh, well, so-and-so said that this is such and such about the Bible. And hey, maybe I, discard it, something like that. And then I felt like something left me. Like something, an essence left me. It never happened before, but I felt like something parted from me. And I felt an emptiness. And again, I don't do drugs or anything like that. Very clean lifestyle. But I think it was a spiritual attack. See, our souls or spirit, whatever it is, awareness, life force, it has to go somewhere. And I think when you make a pledge or, hey, I profess this lifestyle, you have other forces that want to take it away. And so I think that's what was happening to me. and what was happening to me when I lived in the U.S. Virgin Islands or St. Thomas, um, that particular force might have been maybe watching over me and giving me a word of encouragement. But then again, some of you might be saying, well, what about now, Spirit Journey? You're not in Christianity anymore. But I'm also older, and I'm also, see, in each stage of our life, like you have a little baby, the baby's concern is its ability to, um, cry, move its little legs and arms to try to get attention, whether it's hungry or it needs its diaper change. Each level of awareness, you have to you're given that portion of responsibility according to where you are. And so now, because I'm older and I have more information behind me, not necessarily all of it is accurate, but according to the knowledge that I have and the understanding, I think you're able to question and analyze, okay, how does this fit into my life? What is true for me? And seeing that how everything is, I can't say now that to allow a book to dictate everything what I'm to do. Now the Bible, the Old and New Testament, they have things that you can learn from it. It has principles that you can follow. And a principle, think of that as a set of laws, foundational laws of the universe. Like you sow what you reap. Like you do something to somebody, don't be surprised if something happens to you. So some things are written in the fiber of life that apply to everybody. So it's not based on if you're this race or that nationality or this gender. No, it applies to everything. And so that's what I want to tap into. I want to understand, and I hope I'm making sense, people. Yeah, just if you're awake with me and understand the point I'm making, just indicate that in the chat room, so I understand that we're all on the same page. You cannot just blindly say to yourself that that the answer is X, Y, and Z. That this Bible is the Word of God. You also have to ask yourself, what is God? Because you have many beliefs. I'm sorry, my little dog kicked my foot, hit my dog. You have many belief systems. You have people who live in different types of environments, and they have to conduct themselves a certain way based on their environment. Things that I could do, let's say in Hawaii, when I used to live in Maui, maybe some things I can't do some of those things here. It's a different environment, different attitudes of people. So the Bible, yes, has many interesting things, but I see more and more, it's about control. It's about shaming. It also brings division between men and women. It gives more credit and position for men than for women. And I have a problem with that. And no, I'm not a woman's liber. I'm not into that either. But I'm into, we're all human beings. And if you want peace and blessings, I want that for me too. We all want the same thing. And that's all that I'm about. So if you're doing a job, you should get the same amount that the other person. but it's also about qualification, your skill. So there are many things. And um, yeah, these are basic human laws. And we all know when we feel violated. We may not understand why you might feel violated about a particular thing, a matter that happens to you, but you know it when you feel it, and you react. So I don't want a book to tell me what to do. Did you? I know, kind of getting all over the place, but it's all good. Um, I was watching videos yesterday and this morning. There was this incident that happened in France. Yeah, let me talk about that. It's current events, but it's all about it's I mention all these things because it's the signs of the time that things are trying to frazzle us and scare us, and in the name of religion. Let me tell you this. I was very surprised when I heard about it. This had to do with France in Europe. And I love France. I when I was in the military, we went to France, and I had a good time. It was in southern France that we were in. We did what they call a med cruise. Med is short for Mediterranean. And so we were in the Mediterranean area, and the southern part of France is in the Mediterranean. And the first place we were in was Marseille, France. It's one of the oldest cities in France. It's a port city, yeah, ships. It's a massive harbor. And in that town, it's a very old town. They have old churches, old Moorish style churches. And they have a lot of Arabic speaking people. France had a lot of colonies in northern Africa. And in northern Africa, they primarily speak a form of Arabic. And many of them, I think the official religions of the North African countries is Islam. And so after colonialism, many of these people from North Africa, they go to France. They like France, and they have their own stores there. And one day, me and someone from my ship that I was on, we were. It was nighttime. Liberty begins, I think, at 7 p.m., 7 or 7:30 p.m. We're able to leave the ship. We're wearing civilian clothes. Again, this is Europe, and in France, southern France, in Marseille. And I'm wearing a big, bulky jacket and baggy pants. Nothing sexy. Again, it was very, conservative. And we went in a pastry shop. I like pastries. As some of you know, I used to be a pastry chef. Many of my fields that I've done. And I noticed that the signs of the storefronts were different names of different countries, Arab language countries. And now, I realize those were all, the different colonies that France had. I didn't know all of the names of the places. My geography was not the best, but I've heard of places like Algeria and Morocco, but all those other names I didn't know. Let's see. So, me and the co-worker, we go in this shop. And I did notice that the two men in the shop, what we would call Arab-looking people, they were tan color. They were lighter than me, a tannish color. They weren't that tall. One was older than the other, like a nephew uncle type or father son type. you know, relationship. Um, and they did look kind of stern, but I was so happy to be in France, and I just thought, oh, it's just they're going through something. It's their problem, whatever. I never would have thought that it really was an issue with their look. I know this sounds funny to say this, but sometimes some groups look kind of menacing, or they have a stern face. Some people just, some cultures, they just look like that. And that's all that I attributed to. I was wrong. Some people look that way because they actually are angry. And that's what I later learned, well, quickly learned. So we enter, and we look at the pastries, and my friend senses something. She ordered first, and then they're kind of rough with her, the transaction. And I'm just being kind of naive about it, just thinking the best. See, back then I always think the best in people, you know. And I'm looking in the window case, and I go, I said, and I said, I like that one. And they went to pick up one of them. I said, no, not that one, the other one. And then he threw it down, comes across, and then hits me in my chest. I kid you not. I said, don't you hit me. I better put my hand up. Don't you dare hit me. And then he starts rambling in, I would imagine, Arabic. It wasn't French. I know it wasn't French, because I knew a little French. And he's rambling to my friend. My friend kind of looks like an Arab. She had the very prominent nose and olive complexion, and what they call curly straight hair, and just kind of like stunned. And then I walk out. I think he pushed me when I turned my back, exit the store. I was like in shock. I felt embarrassed. I should have told the military base what happened. Why I'm mentioning this story? Well, in France, I loved France. That was my only negative incident that happened to me in France. Again, there are a lot of North Africans in France, and I remember I talked to an Egyptian. No, he was a Moroccan guy, but looking like a black fellow. He's from Morocco, or Egypt. And I told him about the incident that happened. I said, what do you think happened? Why did he do that to me? He said, I don't know. Because I was trying to figure out, did I do anything culturally insensitive or whatever? I should have. I just wanted to get out of there when the incident happened. And I couldn't remember which store. All the stores there kind of all looked the same. I wasn't physically hurt, but shaken. And I thought to myself, how could, men not supposed to hit women? I'm old-fashioned in that way. Men don't hit women, whatever. You don't do things like that. I mean, no one should be hitting on anyone. But it happened to me. And it was a lasting memory for me. I never forgot it. And I still could visualize what the guy looked like. It was awful. So I'm mentioning this story because you have people who, for whatever reason, culturally or whatever, who don't mind hitting on women, and don't mind hitting upon people from another group. So that was a paradigm shift for me. But when I was watching the video yesterday on France, the media seems to be keeping it quiet. But either way, France was attacked. France had they want to call it a terrorist attack. Um, a man had, let's see, this is October. I think it was last month. It was a school teacher. He was a, um, like junior high school level. He was teaching about freedom of speech, and he presented a book. It was a cartoon about Muhammad, and I mean, I don't know what type of cartoon. What was it? Something pejorative, or was it like in cartoon form? You know, because sometimes you have religious material, and like especially for children, they might have like in cartoon form about the little characters in the Bible, right? You know, so I don't know whether it was something like that or a cartoon to deprecate uh, the Prophet Muhammad of that, excuse me, of that faith system. Well, either way, what happened was that someone cut the guy's head off. I kid you not. I kid you not. I just learned of this yesterday, that they cut the school teacher's head off because of the book he discussed in classroom about freedom of speech, and has this thing on, this book in his hand, a cartoon of the prophet. And then this other thing happened yesterday or the day before yesterday. Let me get some water. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. This person went to Nice. It's a city in France called Nice. And I've been in Nice when I was in the military. I actually wanted to live there. I did try to get to move there after I got out of the military, and I was finally in my hometown, near my hometown. I tried to facilitate getting a job over there, to no avail. Yeah, I believe when you move into a place, move in legally. Yes, I'm about that. See, all these undocumented people who do these things, that's not cool. For me, if I'm to live in a place, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder. Do things lawfully so you can get what you want. So I wasn't able to get a job over there, but I wanted to live in France, and I am part French. I always wanted to go there after the military, and outside of that one incident, I loved France. I liked this. This was in the southern portion, and I in particular liked the city of Nice. Nice was very clean. It looked like Madison Avenue in Manhattan, the Midtown area. Looked very plush and clean, and I loved it. I felt safe. I was able to go out by myself. Yeah, I felt at one with the environment. I didn't feel I was being targeted against, by the so-called locals, the Europeans there. Oh, I had a ball. I loved the food. In Marseille, I had what they call a smash sandwich. The smash sandwich is like a grilled. It's a grilled sandwich. They use French bread, and then it looked like sauerkraut, hamburger, French fries, and cheese. And then they close it, and then they, like in a waffle iron, and they cook it. And it's fantastic. That is the best sandwich I ever had. And before it's cooked, it looked kind of funny looking. When they cook, wow, that was my favorite meal. That was the vendor food. And then they have their own soft drinks. And I would sit eating on the curb. And I just felt so much at one with everything. I loved France. So, yeah, that was in Marseille, the sandwich. But Nice is a town, a city near Marseille, France. And again, it's in the Mediterranean area. Let me get my other little boy here. Come here. You want to come up? Come. Come here. This is Lavin. Yeah, that little boy Lavender. He was the one that was barking earlier. He's a little watchdog. But yeah, so back in Nice, France, I loved Nice. It's clean and sunny. It's warm, and there was an attack in Nice, a terrorist attack, and what happened? A man from Tunisia, that's in the northern part of Africa, Arabic, they speak Arabic, and Islam is the major religion there. And he goes into a Catholic church and kills people with a knife. He killed one of the workers there. He slashed the throat of a woman that was so deep that it was almost decapitated. Oh, I can't even pronounce it. Decapitated. I kid you not. The person was virtually decapitated because he cut the neck so deeply. And then another lady, he chased outside of the church and stabbed her to death. And I think that's how they were alarmed that there was a problem, seeing a lady running away from a guy with a knife. The police did come to the scene, and the police did come to the scene, and they did apprehend the guy. They shot at him. He survived it, and he was screaming out, in Arabic that God is great, something, oh, God is the greatest, and he's doing this. So France is deploying, I think they said 4,000 more police people to, they're on like a high alert now in France. And I'm very saddened about this. I loved France. Again, I wanted to live there. And I think about France. It's so, I mean, it treats Americans well. A lot of everything goes to France to visit. It's very international, France. Has a lot of people visiting, and I loved it. It puts a change to things. It puts a change about, again, my thoughts, my belief in things that this would be a great place to visit. And now, overnight, all that changed. In fact, they mentioned that I think 4 years earlier, there was another attack on Nice. This driver, he had a giant truck, and he allegedly ran over people with it. And that video was skeptical. Some of the things that were on the ground looked like dummies. Like fakery. I did talk about that in my video. Yeah, I did a video about that. But either way, if it actually happened, or the fact that they want you to believe that this happened, and in the town that I wanted to live, I would have done anything to live in that place. It is it's very social. They have a lot of people. You can, stroll down because they have a waterfront. Yeah, it happened right by the waterfront. Right in the area where I wanted to live. I wanted to live there. But look what happened. You have now people doing horrific things. So time changes. People could want something, and overnight, what you think you want, where you think you're willing to sacrifice for, doing anything to get, and all that can change overnight. I think also, I think about, what about France now? Now, excuse me. Now again, I don't wish to sound insensitive, but it's the signs of the time with France. France was a major player in colonies in the Americas. It had the Caribbean, and part of my background is French on my mother's side. They did horrible things to the people of Haiti. What else? Yeah, horrible. And they have their colonies in Africa, in North Africa and West Africa. It was a power player, France. But I thought about the man, the school teacher, who was to teach the class about, let me get some water, more water. Sorry, wow, my mouth is really dry. When I think about what you say and what you do historically, it catches up with you. And again, this is not, I'm not trying to sound insensitive, because I loved France. And for those people who got killed, who got beheaded and got killed by that, recently by the terrorists, and they believed that it was a, what do you call it, extremists of that belief system. See, I want to be very careful. I'm not here to make fun of anybody's religion or whatever, or to flag this video, you know. But an event happened yesterday or the day before yesterday, and it killed 3 people. One of the people almost got, the head was almost severed off completely. And then last month, someone who was actually beheaded because of the what they call the comic book on the prophet. So I look at history. Here, France is a predominantly Christian country. I think a lot of the whites there aren't having as much children. Europeans in general are having less and less children. But you have, because of the former colonies, they're coming to Europe to live, and many of them are having a lot of children. So it's believed that the number of Europeans in comparison to non-Europeans living in Europe is going to, the scale is going to tip over in favor of non-Europeans living there, the percentages. And in history, we may at one time, or France I should say, at one time was a powerhouse, and historically did a lot of things against its colonial subjects, if I can word it like that. Or let's say what it did in the Caribbean, its involvement with slavery and things like that, and changed the whole continent, So now, you have again a French guy who has this comic book on the prophet, and someone of that belief system retaliates. People now are seeing that the European is not God, and that some cultures, they don't identify with race. Like in the Americas, everything is about race. What race are you, It's not about religion per se. It's a very race-based culture. But when you go to parts of Asia, Asia in general, and northern part of Africa, they're not using the same so-called race system, because no one, they're not European, but they may have other things that distinguish them, like maybe tribe or religion. Okay, and in this case, religion is almost as tight as in the Americas about race. So the guy retaliated, and here, what I'm really stunned about the whole incident is that for that one person, I don't know how many people, but for a person to have the boldness in a country that's, I believe it's mostly European and mostly Christian, and for them to be that bold and do an attack in your neighborhood and in your church. Well, again, the beheading, I don't know where that actually happened, whether it was in his home or in the street. I don't know. But to do that on his territory shocked me. And I think about something like that could easily happen here. And no, this is not about scaring people or Americans or Europeans about backlash. I'm just talking about one's perception. And in the past, some people got away with name calling, or like I'm reading a book on slavery. It's the autobiography. Oops. So I don't know, my desktop made this noise. I must be getting a message or something. Okay. What was I just saying? Yeah, so sometimes people forget, and they may say something, and what they got away with in the past. Oh yeah, I remember. I'm reading a book on the autobiography of this slave woman who had to hide inside a house for about 7 years, and all the things that she went through, a lot of sexual harassment, and the fear of losing her children. Yeah, that is terrorism, in my opinion. Slavery was terrorism, and she was in terror much of her slave life. The fear of being sold, this fear of being whipped, everything. But you have a system back then in the past, and these oppressors had carte blanche to do anything they wanted. They could violate any woman they wanted. They could violate anybody's religion. They were into kidnapping people. They were into all sorts of melee, and not punished for it. Maybe some might have thought the Civil War in the United States was a punishment, but not really. And I say not really because they got their land back. Briefly, slaves were given some land, and then I think it was President Johnson. He gave the land back to those oppressors, those former enslavers. So that's not punishment. Who's punished were the slaves and the former enslaved. But here you have had a system for hundreds of years that was oppressing people. And I think even till recent, in the Americas, at least in the United States, people got away with doing certain things to certain groups. And now people are waking up, and people are saying enough is enough. They're tired of their oppressors. This does not give an excuse to, at random, do violence on anybody. You don't, have to be careful. I think what's happening, I say certain words, and I notice that the viewers drops to 0 and then it pops back up. Yeah, I think what happens if you say certain words, it puts a freeze on the video. So I just noticed that. Yeah, I have the monitor in front of me. So I have to be careful what I say. Okay. Yeah, let me know if you could hear me and understand what I'm saying. You could just put something in the chat room that you're hearing my message. Okay. This is like a wake-up call. You have people who historically got away with everything against it's people who had colonized or enslaved, and just recently, as I mentioned, someone got beheaded, and then recently 3 people. Oh, they were in church. The 3 people that got killed, they were in a Catholic church, Notre Dame Church, in Nice, and killed them. So some people say enough. Some people hold their religion as the identity, while in America people identify with race or sometimes nationality. But in some circles, their religion is an extension of their identity. It governs everything about them. And so what one might think is just casual is talking about, has a book, but it was a cartoon of this particular prophet, and they didn't like it. And they didn't like it enough that they actually murdered the fellow. Yeah, and that's the sad part. You don't do that. And it's not the first time that these cartoons were drawn about this prophet. And so there was also a book written, I think it's called Satanic Verses. And the guy, I think, used to be of that particular religion. And when he did the book, they threatened to wipe him out. And he went hiding. So if you know, people, and especially in that part of Europe, France, and France has a lot of Arabs, a lot of Islamic Arabs, from North Africa. And you also have West Africa. You have a lot of West Africans who are of that religion as well. But I think in that part of France, it's mostly northern part of Africa that they're coming from, and they overwhelmingly are Arab speaking and of that particular religion. So if you know that in recent history, if you talk about that belief system and use a cartoon or make a cartoon of that person and know what happened, why would you do it again? See that? It's not using wisdom. Why are you trying to excite people to anger? And what you got away with in the past as a nation and as a race of people. See, people are saying enough. People don't want their women violated. People want to be able to live in freedom, and people don't want their religion violated. So what you were able to do in the past couple of 100 years ago, you can't do that now and get away with it. People are saying enough is enough. Yeah, people are becoming radicalized. I don't agree with hurting people. Oh, okay. I'm back now. Oh, okay. Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, I didn't realize you went back. Yeah, I talked about a whole different, a lot of different subjects. I'm talking about the incident that happened, Cam, in France. There was a killing, a religious group did killings yesterday. They went in a church and killed 3 people. One of them was so badly, the neck was so badly slashed that the head almost came, was coming off. And then last month, there was an actual beheading because the French guy, he was a teacher, and he's talking to his students. I think it was like junior high school level, and he showed this cartoon book of this particular prophet, and they retaliated. Well, someone retaliated against him, and they decapitated him for their religion and the killing that was in the church. It was a Catholic church that another person came in and used a knife to kill 3 people. 2 of them were women, one was a guy. One of the ladies, the third person, ran out of the church, and he chased her outside and killing her outside. So the cameras got that, and so that's how they knew, I think, what was going on, because they see a man killing a lady in the street, and the police came. So now in France they have a high alert and putting out, I think they said 4,000 officers to protect the citizens of France. Yeah. So people are getting radicalized. It's horrible. And it's okay to disagree with somebody. And if you feel that someone stepped on your toes, so to speak, let's say they said something about your religion, let's say an unfair hiring practice, something, talk about it. Go, but don't go and just at random commit murder against somebody that you don't even know. It's just a sign of the time. So I'm hoping that, I think this is a wake-up call and a paradigm shift that the European powers have to mind themselves, because see, you have a growing the Europeans and those Europeans in the diaspora all over the world, they're not having as many children. And so who is having a lot of children? Their numbers are getting larger and larger. And when you have a group of people who were considered minority status, and when they get a domain, a foothold on a domain, they're going to take action. And in my neighborhood, you do have people of that similar religion. Some of the stores that they have, food stores, and I remember a couple of years ago, it seemed like a meeting was taking place in this one store. It's like all of a sudden, groups of this particular religious system was going in the store, and it seemed like to me that they were making themselves known, and that they're going to probably grow in number, because again, Americans aren't having as many children, but you have newer people, immigrants from cultures where the women usually have a lot of children, and having this faith system. And if you talk about their faith system, they are not afraid to say stop it, and their means of saying stop it, they go kill the person. So it's just something, I'm just saying this for as an observation. Yeah, some people you can't mess with. And being that this happened in France, this murder, they feel confident enough to do it and get away with it. So yeah, let's cool it. Stop talking about certain religions who historically, if you say something about it, that they want to cut your head off, and literally. Yeah, if you're not going to say anything nice, maybe we should just refrain what we say. And yeah, don't. They do make some individuals do make fun of Christianity, um, but you don't see people going on killing sprees because of it. But it just goes to show some people take their religion seriously. Um, yeah, take your life seriously, but not in violence, but in love. Um, People want to try to ruffle our feathers. They want you to fight, and that's what I talked about in the beginning of this live stream, when I talked about some of the visions that I had, and um, the movie The Matrix. That I'm starting to think more and more that this life is really like The Matrix, and that there are different um, realities out there of awareness, and our brain is a receptor, and like a radio, it can, according to the dial that you turn, can tap into different radio frequencies, and in this case different frequencies that are in the ether. So I'm just tapping onto that ether. Yeah. So I can't think of anything else. I know I was on for a while. Yeah, I talked about a lot of things. I talked about the vision that I had this morning about the outdoor scenes with these little rocks, these jagged rocks. And then yesterday I had a dream, looked like it was a beachfront, and there was a wind, and the palm trees were swaying. And what else? And then I gradually talked about this current event thing that happened in France, and how I had wanted to actually move to that town. Nice, France, is a city in France called Nice, and it was beautiful. And that's where the attacks occurred just recently in France. Yeah, I loved France. I really, I wanted to live there. So here now it has a killing spree. Someone went in the Catholic Church and then killing two women and a man. They did get the guy, and he's was yelling in his language about that God was great, you know. Yeah, this religious thing, you know. That's what I don't like about religion, that something in a book to make you do things, to justify things, justify slavery, justify killing people. Why can't they just make a book that everybody to love one another, for everybody to be happy, to be fair in your trade, to be honest? That's the type of religion. That's the religion I want to follow. To do good things. Yeah, none of us are perfect, but I'd like to live a life of peace. That's what I want. So yeah, I can't think of anything else. But I always enjoy this time of the live stream. I enjoy your feedback, and yeah, life is to be lived. And yeah, I did a video yesterday. It wasn't a live stream, but it was a video, and it was about reminiscing about Maui, where I used to live. Yeah, some things that I wanted to share there. I was, yeah, this time, this season, and this week is the same week of an event that happened to me back in Maui, that I liked, and I love October. I think because of it and other things, I love the change of season. I love the leaves and everything. It's very comforting to me. Yeah, stay safe. This things are really getting hairy out there, and yeah, it's raining outside, and yeah, there's a hurricane coming up the East Coast in the U.S. That's why we're getting the tail end of it here. But yeah, the elections will be coming soon. Next Tuesday. Yeah, go out there and vote, and vote for who you feel comfortable with, not because who I say. Vote for who you feel comfortable with, and pray for the nation. Pray for peace, So that's all. Thank you again for watching, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, each one teach one. Be safe. Use wisdom, and love one another. Okay? Thank you again. Bye-bye.